Hey, man, I'm going to say something that nobody that I'm aware of has ever said. And that's that Dillon Brooks is a damn genius. A comedic genius, but a genius nonetheless, okay? I mean, because he can't lose. There is no downside here, okay? Because if LeBron doesn't give him 40, if 38-year-old LeBron can't summon 40, Dillon Brooks could be like, I told you so, and don't let the Grizzlies win. Because if you think he's talking that shit now, let the Grizzlies win this series, especially without Ja, who, by the way, they're 27-8 the last 2 years without Ja Morant. Explain that. Anyway, so if LeBron doesn't go off, you know, he pokes the bear and nothing happens. If LeBron does go off, it's like, hey, it's LeBron James. You're welcome. I gave him what he needed, and he took that personally, So it's like there is no downside, because the only reason we talk about Mr. 12 points on 14 shots is because of stuff like this. And he leans all the way in. See, Michael, you know what I love about people in general. I love people who are consistent and people who are committed. And Dillon Brooks is consistently a heel. He is consistently the butt of the joke. He knows we are laughing at him more than we're laughing with him. But yet he is committed to it. He leans all the way in. Like, just look at how he dresses. Like, he finds ways to get people to keep talking about him. And if he's saying this in front of the microphone, you know good and damn well he's saying it to LeBron when he's clapping in his face. I'm here for it. Everybody needs that heel, that villain. Like, he grew up wanting to be Draymond. He ain't as good as Draymond, but in the trash talking, annoying department, he's pretty daggone close already.
You said he's consistent. He's committed.
He's committed to his role.
And he's also Canadian. Trying too hard. Doing too much. All right, like stop it. We know it. Friendly neighbors, got it. We understand.
Bears.
I poke bears. I'm sure you do. You're Canadian. You see bears. Okay, you see bears. Roaming around Saskatchewan somewhere. Alberta. I got you. All right, listen. LeBron's used to this, Mike. I was thinking about this the other day. Why does LeBron draw these types of guys? Like, usually, it's not Kevin Durant. It's not the Kevin Durants of the world. It's not Giannis. It's not all NBA great players. It's think back. Deshaun Stevenson back in the day. Yeah. Lance Stevenson blowing in his ear. And now we got Dillon Brooks. I mean, these dudes.
There's a tradition of dudes coming at the king and literally missing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, if we were in the nautical world, these are barnacles. Okay, these are barnacles just trying to jump on, trying to get something from this massive structure to survive. So LeBron is used to the Dillon. Really, I mean, it's used to the Dillon Brooks types who need him to survive, to be relevant.
But Dillon Brooks coming at him, like, would you pick a fight with an old man? You know I love the Boondocks. Shout out to Aaron Magruder. This is like fighting Stinkmeaner. It's like, but LeBron will still give you 40. He's still great. But it's like, would you really fight an old dude? Because, like, who fights an old dude? So Dillon Brooks can poke this bear now and say stuff like, yeah, it'd really been a challenge if I had to guard him when he was in Cleveland or Miami. First of all, clever. Secondly, it ain't like he can go back then and do it. All you can do is just talk trash, and there's no real accountability for it.
Here's the other thing. Last thing I say, because he's not really, because Dillon Brooks ain't even worth all this. But the funny thing is,
we should move on to important people.
Old LeBron at 38, go be 39. He's like 38 and a half now. Old LeBron, he's not 38 and a half quite, but is better than young Dillon Brooks. LeBron, even past his prime, is a superior player. So what's he talking about? That's why LeBron.
Paul, we know Bronny James is better than Dillon Brooks. I mean, let's just stop there.
Now you're going too far.
I know. I'm trying to channel my inner Dillon Brooks, because I respect nobody unless they give me 40. They got to give me 40 to read, not 28 and 12. Yeah,
not 30. Not 30. 40. Okay.
Go ahead. Quick question. We'll move on to somebody else. Go ahead. Yeah.
Who wins this series? Who you got winning this series?
I would have said the Lakers after game 1, but I forgot how good the Grizzlies are without Ja. I'm going to say the Grizzlies. And then when the Lakers win game 3, I'll flip back to the Lakers. Speaking of Bears and speaking of hibernation, that was a forced transition there. I like your feed item. We really need to give Denver some love. Is it because of the conversation around MVP and Jokic kept pointing to his lack of postseason performance, or is it just ho-hum 1-8 against dysfunctional Minnesota? But this is the one seed with the two-time MVP that I recognize it was the bubble, but once upon a time looked like they were next, but for injuries, and it doesn't feel like we're quite looking at them as favorites. Did I steal your thunder?
You got. I'm telling you, you got it. You got it all. Look, here's the thing. We talked about Jokic all season long. All season long, whether it's like the debate over is Jokic a three-time MVP, and if we give Jokic a three straight MVPs, what are we saying about, Bill Russell and all these other great players and Larry Bird who have won 3 straight? Is he on that level? Jokic analytics, Jokic Embiid, Jokic Giannis. We didn't really talk about in depth as an NBA basketball loving community, the team that Jokic is on. He's on a number 1 seed. The Denver Nuggets are not a fluke one. In a down west, they were the best team in the down west. You want to talk about committed and consistent and not even close to Canada. That is the Denver Nuggets. They were that the entire year. They've got one of the best players in basketball, some say the best, on one of the best teams in basketball, and they're proving it. Yeah, they gave up a big lead. They gave what? Nobody said what?
Nobody said he's a two-time MVP. Nobody says he's the best player. You said some say the best. Nobody says that. Respectfully.
Really?
Nobody says Nikola Jokic is the best player. I've never heard anybody say Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA.
Is the best player?
No, I've never.
Best player in basketball?
I've never heard that.
Is that a hot take?
I've never heard
that. Is that a hot take? Is that hot?
From you? Are you? Wait, I'm confused.
From anybody.
Are you saying he's the best player in the league, or arguably? Are you saying he's arguably the best player, or
he's arguably?
Are you saying that some? Are you saying that some people say? No, he's not arguably.
You never heard.
I've never heard anybody make that argument.
About that?
No, but you're giving him his flowers. I get it. You're giving him his flowers. I understand what you're going.
But I don't want to get a sidetrack. But I'm saying like a back-to-back MVP who has put up historic numbers, who has done things from his position that we've never seen before.
Best passing center of all time.
But I've
never heard somebody make the argument that he's the best player.
There are 3 or 4,
whether it's Steph or
there are
whether
3 or 4
it's
guys.
Giannis. Yeah.
There are like 3 or 4 guys who are in that conversation.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't know that there's been much of a.
I'm not prepared
that's
to
what I
make
wanted
it,
to clarify.
But I'm
that's
not.
what I wanted to clarify.
But I'm not hating. But I'm not hating on anybody who says.
And I'm not hating
yes,
too.
He's the best player. He's the best player in basketball.
Jokic. But I feel like ever since a couple of years ago when Giannis, dropped that 50 piece to close out the Suns, that conversation has started and ended with Giannis, whether or not Giannis gets a third, not consecutive, but a third MVP regardless.
Well, that's where I disagree with you. That's where I disagree. I love Giannis, but that conversation doesn't end.
It kind of felt consensus. Okay.
Right. It's fluid.
It felt like it was
it's
no,
not
it's definitely
firm.
fluid.
It's always
and
a fluid conversation.
But it feels like for the last couple of years, the consensus has been Giannis is the best player, MVP or not.
But
Giannis didn't play last night, and there was a.
But my big takeaway. My big takeaway, just real quick, my big takeaway is the Denver Nuggets are, here's their word, provocative word. Denver Nuggets have been underrated all season long. They've been overlooked.
I agree. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Even as a one seed,
overlooked,
I would agree with that.
Maybe both.
I agree.
That's all.
I get it. I'm picking up what you're putting down, even as a one seed. The one seed Milwaukee Bucks. You had this in your feed the other day. You said it's going to be a long series even without Giannis. It might not be, but in reverse. Because the Heat don't have Tyler Hero. And just a couple of numbers, and then we can talk about your Milwaukee Bucks. I'm surprised you didn't break out the T-shirt today. 138 to 122. Most points ever scored in a playoff game by a team without their leading scorer from the regular season. And it's not just any leading scorer, it's that guy.
That's amazing.
25 threes, tied a playoff record. 7 players in double figures. 6 who scored at least 15, matches another NBA record. I mean, they're not going to make 25 threes a game, but this just in. Like the Grizzlies, they're damn good without their superstar.
Yeah, and Mike, I got to say I've been guilty of this, not necessarily on this show. When I talk locally, you got to pander to a certain audience. when I talk locally about the Milwaukee Bucks, I've been a little dismissive of them, saying, oh, the Celtics are much better than Milwaukee. It doesn't matter. Milwaukee is the 1 seed. Celtics are the 2. Celtics can go into Milwaukee and win a Game 7. It may not even get to Game 7. Look, the Milwaukee Bucks did something last night that I don't think many teams in these playoffs, how many we got, 16 left? Okay, out of 16 teams in the playoffs, I don't know any of them who can lose their best player and then win by that margin. I don't know if anybody could do that. I mean, they made it look so easy. They stayed on them. They jumped on them early. I thought somebody, if you had said to me before the game, somebody's going to be down by 20 points at halftime, 20 or more points at halftime, I would have said, of course, it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis. They're reeling. They don't know what to do. Playoff Jimmy Butler did his thing. Bam Adebayo did his thing.
Deer in headlights. Yeah.
So Milwaukee, they have been the best team all season long. Really, they really went into overdrive. And Malcolm Brogdon former Buck Malcolm Brogdon, the last thing I'll say, former Buck Malcolm Brogdon gave voice to this probably like 8 or 9 games left in the regular season. He said, the Bucks took the number 1 seed from us. We're a little surprised by it, quote, and we want it back. Even though they went to Milwaukee and blew them out, the Celtics did not take it back from them because Milwaukee continued to win with or without Giannis. So props to the Milwaukee Bucks as well. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.